Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Hey, we're coming here with another excellent podcast. We certainly appreciate all of you tuning in, and we certainly appreciate when you refer the show to your friends, neighbors, relatives, dogs, cats, cousins, all that sort of good stuff. Be sure to tell them to go to youtube.com/Chris Voss, hit the bell notification button, go to iTunes, Google Play, and now on Spotify. Wow, Spotify. You can listen to the podcast and listen to the great music when you're not listening to the podcast. Well, there you go. Anyway, we have a most excellent guest, as always, on the Chris Voss Show, Adam Houlahan. He's all the way from Australia. He's an international keynote speaker specializing in social media for business. He's the CEO of a highly successful boutique agency, Web Traffic That Works. He lives in Australia's iconic tourist destination, the Gold Coast, Queensland, and he's considered one of Australia's leading experts in harnessing the power of LinkedIn for business. Welcome to the show, Adam. How are you doing?
Hey, Chris. I'm doing just fine, thanks.
Nice, nice. Now, you're also an author, too. You've written several books. I think the LinkedIn Playbook I can see on your website, available on Amazon, and Social Media Secret Sauce. And you've got another book coming up we'll talk about. Can you give us your plugs so people can look you up on the interwebs?
Yeah, the easiest place to go is, excuse me, just straight to my website, which is amzn.to. It's about to go a big upgrade, but what you see there is still pretty relevant about me. We're just adding in a new flavor of it for 2019.
Nice. Getting ready for 2019. Wow, we're almost there, aren't we? Jeez, where did this year go? Ah, man, I hate this age thing. It seems like the older I get, the faster everything goes, which they tell me, which includes my health. The faster it just goes. So you've written these two books. You love LinkedIn, I guess. You still think LinkedIn is a great place to be for social media.
Well, it is, but it's not for everyone. So it's the first thing I always tell people is, when people say, where should I be focusing my time? And I say, well, you should focus it wherever your clients or potential referral partners and that type of thing are. A lot of people say LinkedIn is really only good for like B2B or business to business applications, which I don't tend to agree with. Some of the most successful campaigns that we've got running right now are B2C or business to consumer type campaigns. I would say, though, that in the majority of cases, it's probably it was easier to generate good results in the B2B space.
Yeah. There's someone told me a long time ago, I think it was like 2010, and they said basically when it comes to social media, Twitter is the bar, Facebook is your home, and LinkedIn is like your office. And I thought that was a good analogy. LinkedIn was very business oriented. It was all about, business and connections, and not very spammy, because you had to actually have connections with people if you wanted to connect with them on LinkedIn. And of course, Twitter is what it is, the cesspool, or what it's become, a cesspool of noise and trolls. And Facebook, of course, has just become what it is, where your family and friends are there, on people who send you webcam hooker invites. So,
yeah, that's a pretty in-depth and accurate analogy, I would say. It's 2010 to now, LinkedIn certainly changed incredibly. Especially, I would put the line in the sand where it really stepped up into becoming a real powerhouse platform, provided you know how to leverage it. It was about the time that Microsoft dropped $26 billion to buy it. So clearly, at the point they were going to invest a lot of time and energy into it, and they have. And in most cases, I'd say they've been positive advancements that they've made, other than as we were talking about before the show, how crappy their groups still are, probably always will be.
Probably always will be at this point for the things they're doing there. It's really sad, and a lot of the groups were zombies for a long time, but unfortunately have taken the last vestiges of people who are holding it together. Great moderators like myself who have great groups and they've just thrown it right into the shitter and washed their hands of it. I don't really know what they're trying to do, or if they're trying to dumb down LinkedIn so that more people use it. But it seems like the change they made to the rules are pretty amazing. But there's still a lot of great things. There's the Sales Navigator section of it. I still get a lot of great contacts from LinkedIn. I probably have the same problem you do. I'm maxed out at 30,000 people on LinkedIn. And so I have to be really choosy and picky as to who I allow into my connections. And of course, I have a lot of followers as well. But to me, I've just found a rich resource of business and contacts and quality of people, much more so than any other platform on LinkedIn. So I'm a big believer in it as well.
Yeah, and you're right. It doesn't matter who you are in the world, whether you're Richard Branson, Chris Voss, or Adam Houlahan, you get 30,000 maximum connections, and that's it.
Yep.
It's a hard limit. They don't open it up. But like you said, you can have a lot extra followers. But look, LinkedIn's really not about a numbers game. Other than a lot of other platforms like Twitter and whatever are. But I'm not saying that having numbers of people is not good. Clearly it is, but its real power is really in the way that you can position yourself as an expert in whatever field it is that you tend to want to play in, and that's really done through content strategies more so than numbers of connections. So, and this is what I'm saying about really understanding how to leverage the power of it. It's a content platform, and it requires good quality content that's really targeted to a specific niche, and that's what really gets you the traction.
Yeah, and it's so hard for a lot of people to get their head around it. Even a lot of top social media influencers that I know just crap on LinkedIn, and they don't really get it. They can't understand it because it's a little bit more complex, as it should be, since it's business formatted, than just like, let's follow people on Twitter. Okay.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's often interesting to see people who maybe put themselves out there as being very knowledgeable about LinkedIn, and it's clearly obvious often by what they're doing that they maybe don't know quite what they suggest they do. And as an example, I'll give you a very simple example is. LinkedIn doesn't stop you doing this, but when you share like a link to an article or anything on LinkedIn, they're going to actually suppress it. It's kind of like if I could give it something in context, it's kind of like the Instagram shadow ban. So you're probably aware, if Instagram don't like you anymore for doing dumb stuff, they just suppress your content so nobody sees it. And LinkedIn actually has a version of that as well.
Wow. They just bury you. I know video, when they came out with video, I was getting huge views on video that I was posting up to LinkedIn. They were very video friendly for a while. I haven't seen it quite be as juiced as it used to be. What's been your experience with the video on LinkedIn?
Well, it depends on how you upload it. So if you load a link to your YouTube channel, and then it's not going to get traction at all. Yep. If you upload as what they call native video, which means you basically upload it directly to the LinkedIn platform, like the actual MP4 file or MOV file or whatever you're using, then it definitely will get traction for sure.
Yeah, and that definitely makes a difference. I was just amazed at the hugeness of the views and stuff that I was getting when LinkedIn came out with video. I actually started posting. One thing I was doing was posting excerpts on the video of like the first 5 minutes of my podcast. I was getting huge views and huge subscriptions to my podcast. It was just pretty amazing. And just putting up a teaser video for that. And I'm sure that anybody else who's in business, if you want to put up videos of you and your podcast, or you and your business, your product, your service, your brand, it's a great way to take advantage of that and really promote yourself. And the thing I like about LinkedIn too is most anybody who's really serious on there has money. There are clients that have money that that they can spend. They're usually C-class sort of executive level type people. You do have a lot of entrepreneurs that on there, but they have money. Like where as opposed to, Twitter or YouTube, on YouTube, I'm talking to 10 to 15-year-olds who aren't going to buy anything most times. And then, on Twitter, I'm just talking to, I don't know, some angry 400-pound man in his basement of his mother's home. And I say that being a almost 400-pound man, so take that for what you will. In Facebook, unless it's my mom or something, she's not going to buy anything from me. So there's that. But yeah, LinkedIn has just been a rich resource for me. I think I told you the story years ago where I ignored, like a lot of social media experts do, experts in quotes, that they're expert everywhere but LinkedIn. And I had a LinkedIn expert, someone like yourself who had written books and talked about stuff, said to me, they said, hey, I don't understand how you're this social media rock star and everywhere you're big on social media, but like you really suck. Like you have nothing going on LinkedIn. And at first I was kind of a little pissed off. I was like, well, man, everyone hates LinkedIn and blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, maybe she has a point. Maybe there's an opportunity here. And so I said, I'm going to sit down and I'll spend a week just digging through LinkedIn, understanding it, mastering it, trying to figure out where all these people who tell me how great LinkedIn is, like trying to figure out where this is, what this is about. And sure enough, I did it. And I was like, holy crap, there's really good money and prospects and marketing and farming you can do over here. And to this day, my friends, they're in social media, they're social media rock stars, and much of them don't get LinkedIn. And they just have no idea. I tell them, I'm like, you have no idea what a beautiful jewel this is.
Yeah, you're right. It's but I think where a lot of people go wrong is that they try to treat it as an extension of what they're doing on Twitter or Facebook or other channels. Whereas as you sort of said earlier, it's very much that space where there's people with money. They tend to be active, for certain parts of the day. And they're very open to, quality sort of conversations and very open to, engaging financially if it's the right type of product delivered to them in the right sort of format. So it's, like you said, trying to monetize Twitter or YouTube, or YouTube, probably the best way to monetize it is a big audience like you have, and then get paid for advertising from YouTube. But it's a very, very different strategy than what positioning yourself with really high quality solutions to problems is the way we kind of pitch it, so that these people who are looking for the solutions to those problems are quite happy to sort of connect and engage with you and find out what you're about.
Yeah, and it's very business formatted. I mean, any other business format I've had, there's just a lot of spam that gets approached to me, a lot of weirdness of people that are like, I get, stuff, Facebook, I get a lot of stuff from people from, the scammers from Africa, the Nigerians. They love me on Facebook and friend me. And if by any chance I accidentally friend one of them or one of the fake profiles they made that they later changed to who they really are, then I'm stuck with that and going, oh, wow, And so LinkedIn is really, I mean, I would extol to anyone that if you have not gone and mastered LinkedIn, especially if you claim to be a social media guru or, a rock star and I know social media and pay me lots of money. If you haven't mastered LinkedIn, you are missing out on probably one of the most richest platforms when it comes down to it, of being able to deal with clients, market products, and the people you're dealing with. I mean, sometimes they're the head execs of Fortune 500 or 1,000 companies. They're real people with real money, and they've got budgets and influence, and that can make all the difference in the world for who you're selling to, as opposed to, I don't know, some YouTube 10-year-old to 15-year-old. I've had all these people say to me too, even Instagram marketing. I had somebody complain to me the other day that they bought Instagram marketing from Instagram influencers. And I was like, well, who were they? Well, you know, these girls that get a lot of likes. I'm like, honey, you know what? No one's watching those girls to buy products from them. If anything, if their clothes are on, they're just watching those girls because they're hot. There's not, it's not like a buying consumer area. They have, most of them have what I call the pants down audience. And I'm not really sure that they're, you know, there's like people sitting around with money going, I think I'll write a $1,000 check to buy that product because this young girl said I should.
Yeah, it's an interesting part, you know, phenomenon. This new, you know, influencer marketing sort of where, you know, there's a sort of overnight influencers turning up exactly like you say, but a lot of the time the level of influence they have is questionable at best.
Yeah.
And often, like you just said, yes, you don't want to be looking at things just based on the amount of views they get on content or whatever, especially if, like you said, if they're sort of younger, attractive girls, because you know, it can often be nothing about what they're so-called sort of influencer in, more about you know, guys just wanted to check them out.
And given there are a lot of girls who do really well, like the makeup girls, they teach makeup to other young girls, and I suppose some boys. And they sell targeted products. But some of I think the person who's complaining to me, I was like, yeah, your brand has got nothing to do with girls in bikinis on Instagram. I don't even know why you'd have those people trying to sell or market you. And they're like, well, we heard that Instagram advertising with influencers is really good. And I'm just like, well, not all the time. I mean,
well, yeah, I'd say the point there is, you know, just make sure it's with the right influencers that, you know, really are, you know, influential in a target market that is also your market. So yeah, and there's nothing like it doesn't work in that kind of influencer type sort of space. And even you know, like numbers wise, I mean, there's like just over 550 million people on LinkedIn right now. It's still one of the fastest growing platforms. It's like 2 new profiles every second of every day. And LinkedIn's own internal goals are to have about 3 billion people, you know, on the platform. Now, you know, I'm not convinced necessarily that they'll get to those heights, but and maintain sort of quality, but they'll definitely exceed 1 billion.
I think the other thing I like about LinkedIn is there's a real international scale to it. I've liked that a lot about a lot of social media products, but having the international scale of where I can do business with people like you, I think we met off of LinkedIn. You're in Australia, I'm here in America. And, you know, being able to meet people, do business just like it's next door, and know people, work with clients around the world, has been a pretty rich resource for me. I've been pretty amazed about it. And I suppose this is a lot of stuff that you cover in your book.
Yeah, pretty much. The LinkedIn Playbook, which is the current one that's out right now, it's really more about you know, how to set up a really high quality profile, you know, how to engage with people the right ways, and you know, generate a reasonable sort of revenue stream from LinkedIn. The new one, which is coming out, you know, Influencer, which will be out in December. It's like the next level beyond that. It's how you really position yourself as that really, you know, international expert in something. And as you said, one of the real values is this, you know, borderless world we live in now. So, you know, as you said, I can be here in Australia and you're in the US, and, you know, we've got clients that we work with all over the world, in, you know, Germany and Canada and the Philippines, it's Bali, a lot in the US as well. So if you can really position yourself as that sort of international expert, then you know, you really only need to be on LinkedIn and with an effective strategy, and you can generate a really high level pipeline of leads and revenue any day of the week.
And I think most people, you know, one of the reasons is most people are on LinkedIn for business.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, you go on YouTube to, I don't know, eat some lunch, watch some goofy, funny videos, watch people eat cinnamon Tide Pods. You know, it's not really the most business formatted sort of thing. I mean, I think people who try to do business videos and stuff on LinkedIn, they usually have just a low a watch rate of business stuff, unless you're doing, I suppose, some sort of high quality content that I haven't seen yet. But for the most part, you know, it's tough to be successful in those if you have some sort of serious sort of thing and you want to do business. But LinkedIn has just been a gem for me. I've loved LinkedIn. Managing my own group, I built my own group from 0 to 135,000 people. So I was pretty proud of myself that way. I've curated the group this whole time, moderated it, given it lots of love. And up until recently, where they took some of my powers away from me, I really enjoyed the format of it. But even then, I'm hoping that some of my powers are going to come back. One of the challenges they've been doing is changing the platforms of LinkedIn to kind of redesign it, and they've kind of cut away the main part of LinkedIn to redesign it, and then come up with this other part that's currently being redesigned so it can just merge with everything. So that's been kind of interesting to see that evolve.
Yeah, look, I hope that they improve the way groups work. I openly say it's probably the least most valuable sort of part of LinkedIn right now. I know that they're sort of putting some effort into it to change the group formats, but time will tell whether they're sort of positive and people start engaging more. But you know, as you're probably finding in your group, you're just getting a lot of spam, for want of a term, or low quality interaction, probably the way to put it. It's very, very, very difficult to moderate that stuff out at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely been a challenge. For the most part, it was really good because a lot of LinkedIn would filter out a lot of spam. You had your group community that would do a lot of stuff. So where do you spend most of your time when you're in LinkedIn? What's your main focus? Do you use the Sales Navigator at all? I think that costs about $70 a month. I've been playing with that recently and exploiting it.
Yeah, Sales Navigator is a great tool, and it's one, in our training programs. It's we teach people how to really use it effectively. You can really get quite granular in the way that you filter down to find the right type of people, and once reach out and connect with them, but then track how you're engaging with those people. But it's one side of LinkedIn is connecting and engaging with people, but the other, as we said, is really around content. So where I spent all of my time, it's really around content creation and engaging with the people who engage on that content, because as you said, it's very much a business type platform. And if you went on my LinkedIn profile today, you'd see there's a video which is basically me standing at the beach, which is what every video of me is, and talking about, hey, do you want to work with me? I've got a new program, and I'm looking for a few people, and this is the criteria. You could go on it right now, and you'll see all these people saying, yes, I'm interested. Send me more information. Yes, let's do it. So, if you know how to really kind of leverage it, it's all through quality content and targeting that content at an ideal market. It's not that you need to get 500,000 views on a video. You just need to get 1,000 views of the right type of people, and that can generate you $100,000.
Yeah, I mean, when you're working with people who have money as opposed to people that don't. I mean, YouTube has the same sort of issue where it has, the target market for YouTube is like 10 to 15-year-olds. So unless you're selling gum, pop, or I don't know, music, of course, I think does well with Vivo. But unless you're selling something that's targeted within that market, you're gonna have a hard time selling it. Like basically, you may not want to sell geriatric products on YouTube. In other words, the adult diapers might not be a good sell there. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. Yeah, my 9-year-old, she loves YouTube. She's she's on there playing around with music, and she's crazy about dancing and makeup, so as 9-year-old girls tend to be. So you're right. And I think the audience on YouTube is getting younger and younger. So
in fact, recently when they were down for a day or half a day recently, if you read, my friends who had kids, they're like, our kids are losing their freaking minds. Their whole lives are over because YouTube's down for the day. And I'm like, holy crap, is YouTube the third parent babysitter of children these days? But evidently it is. I mean, even when I want to eat a meal, I actually sit down and go, oh, let's watch a quick video, and I'll watch some funny video or watch the news or something. And it's gotten to the point where I almost can't seem to sit down and have a meal without watching a video. It's like I'll actually sit down and queue up the video to eat a meal. And you start to wonder, like, how did I eat before this ever happened? It's kind of like us taking phones into bathrooms. We're like, how did we ever go to the bathroom without phones in the past? Like, was that possible? Was that something that we actually did in our archaic antique world?
Yeah, and it wasn't that long ago. It's we're not talking like 20 years ago. It was not even 10 years ago. But the world's certainly evolving, and not necessarily always in great ways. And there's a lot of downsides to social media. Let's be honest. But it's especially with the kids these days, it's one of the talks I do, I travel extensively around the world, and one of them is around keeping kids safe on social media, and all these little signs you got to watch out for. I'm sure it must be worse in the US than what it is here, but there's a lot of trouble with kids with school. Just they can't focus on their schoolwork. They're just addicted to YouTube and online gaming and whatever, and got behavioral problems, and it all comes from too much time on social media. So really, but compare that to LinkedIn, it's just not like that. Kids are not going to play on there. We're not going to play on there. We're not going to sit on LinkedIn while we have dinner watching business videos. So it's just it's a whole different world, and that's the world I like to play in.
Yeah, it most definitely is. My apologies, my dogs are having a little too much fun. I've got Siberian Huskies, so they're on it. So, but yeah, it's so you usually work there. You create content on social media. You're and of course making call to action, I suppose, getting people to, hey, come work with me, sign up with me, and everything else. In fact, everyone should pull up your LinkedIn profile. And I think that's how we met. I was actually using Sales Navigator to find some people I wanted to have on the show, and I did some deep diving of people who are authors, because usually authors, they're usually pushing a book, and they're good people I usually have on the show. They've got great stuff because they want to pitch their book and talk about it. I think that's how I found you, was through Sales Navigator. And it's been a really rich resource. It's a little more expensive to use, and it's kind of weird how they have two different apps for it, two different messaging areas. But I'm liking my experience so far.
Yeah, and that's exactly, interestingly enough, a lot of the features in Sales Navigator used to be in the free version of LinkedIn. And of course, when, again, go back to the Microsoft purchase, they moved a lot of the free access into higher level programs such as Sales Navigator. So, but yeah, you're right. It can be a little bit clunky working because it actually is a completely separate platform. But you can link from there straight back to the standard LinkedIn, and you're right, it's about $70 odd per month. So you're only going to use it if you're really serious about generating revenue, or like for you, it's a good way to filter down and find people around the world for your show. It's so that's worth $70. So.
Yeah, most definitely. And finding clients, you can really drill down like a few things else with it, and I think that's what's most impressive to me is that I can drill down through it, find the people that I want to talk to, And then from there, I can, decide hopefully what I want to do and do business with the folks. So it works out really good that way. I've been really impressed with it. So you got a forthcoming book you're talking about doing, I guess.
Yeah, it's with the editors right now. So it's from first draft. It's finished, and it should be out in October. We're in October now. In December, and it's really the sequel, as I said, to the LinkedIn Playbook. So it's really the process I use to position myself as a expert for a word on the platform, and how exactly I go about generating let's be honest, hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue through LinkedIn every year.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's the way to do it. And it's really sad to me that a lot of my social media friends really treat it like a stupid stepchild. I'm like, you really, but on the other hand, I go, you know what? Yeah, you probably shouldn't go over there, because I just like to have as much of the platform all to myself. But yeah, I can see you've got a lot of videos, you got a lot of comments, you got a lot of likes. Do you find you have a pretty consistent audience in here where you're engaging the same people, you're building a nice congruent audience of a community that are people constantly coming back to you as well?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole point is, you're not trying to, LinkedIn's not about just spewing out content to the masses looking for the 1%ers. It's about engaging with the right type of people. And the more people engage on your content, the more it keeps showing up in their feeds. So, it kind of finds its home very, very quickly. And, you don't need to be generating hundreds of thousands of views and comments and likes, on content. You can see that one there today, that there'll be a video on there right now. And I'm obviously not on LinkedIn myself right now, but I guarantee you that there's probably 10 people or more saying, yes, send me more information about working with you today.
Yeah. So one complaint I always hear from LinkedIn, and I get this a lot in my mailbox, which I'm sure you do, is this these in-mails that say, hey, I'm selling this pitch, and they send you like 4 to 10 paragraphs of data that no one reads, and they ask for a call. They're like, can we get on the phone call and have a phone call to talk about stuff? And one of the problems with them is they're just sent to, seemingly, it seems like everybody. There doesn't seem any qualification. Like some guy will be, I don't know, selling, I don't know, SaaS software, and I'm just like, I'm not a SaaS company. Like, why would you market that to me? I don't like your targeting, your qualification process really sucks. Maybe you should ask if I'm into SaaS marketing before you pitch me and try and get me on a call. Do you find that sort of LinkedIn strategy works, doing a call thing to ask people if they want to get a call with you, or is that just way too shotgun sporadic and too much of a spread to be effective?
Yeah, well, let me put it to you this way. How many times do you think you've got one of those messages this year? And how many calls have you jumped on and had with someone? Probably say 0, or maybe 1. So, and for me, exactly the same. I get that on a daily basis. Interestingly enough, somebody did it to me yesterday where, unbelievably, it's something I am interested in, and I am going to jump on a call with them. But that's 1 for the whole year. Yeah. So, as opposed to, you look at that post that I've just put up, where I'm inviting people to say, if you're interested, let's chat. And you can see for yourself the difference, just from one post. If you look back at the one before that, it'll be about the launch party for my book. Just saying, would you like to come to this launch party? And I think so far 170 people have registered to come to that, just off that one post. So this is what I mean. The content strategy trumps those dumb messages, those in-mails all day, every day. And like you said, the big mistake people make is making them so long. And 85% of people are looking at those messages on their cell phones. So you can imagine how long that message is.
On cell phones. You're just like, ever since I've seen them, I'm just like, who does this?
Yeah.
In fact, when I looked at mine, I think that I sent the different people, I try and tone it down, although I do try and put a lot of credibility and references in it. But yeah, you look at how the format is for a mobile phone. I mean, when my mom texts me more than a paragraph, I don't read that. And then she's my mom. Now I am nice and I love my mom, so I just call her and go, Mom, what's going on? But I'm kind of old world that way, where I actually like to have a conversation, talk to people from a human aspect as opposed to other people.
Yeah. If you're going to use a messaging strategy, you should exactly that. Keep it like a text. Keep it super short. You can put links in messages, so you should be linking them off to a landing page which has some more high value content. But the message should just be enough to get people interested to want to go and have a look at the page. And if they're not, they'll move on. That's fine. But putting 5 paragraphs of copy on a message is nobody's going to read it.
One thing I recently started doing, and it's been working really well for me, is you're maxed out, right, with your 30,000 on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I always, we'll go through and, like everyone, probably in the early days, I probably accepted a few people that, I don't really serve well, or they don't serve me. So, we'll go through and just remove a few people so we can still add a few, good people. But generally speaking, if I looked at mine right now, I think it's, it's 29,970, something like that.
Yeah. That's how I am. I've started going back through my database, getting rid of like 100 people, especially people that have like dead profiles where they don't have a picture, that sort of thing. And then getting rid of those people. And then I've got, like, right now I have 2,900, I think, backed up invites, the people I think are following me. And so I recently started sending a promotional message through to them saying, hey, thanks for sending me the, the connection and all that good stuff. And, let's talk about who you are and more. And by the way, here's my links so you can check them out. What's interesting is I've had 2 people yell at me about how I was spamming them because I was replying to their connection request. and I'm like, do you understand, honey? You approached me first. You opened this door, and they're like, you're spamming people that haven't given you the thing that the okay to do it. I'm like, no, you actually did that when you connected with me. When you sent me a connection, you made it so that LinkedIn will give me the ability to email you back. And I'm actually emailing people back and messaging them because I'm trying to find out which one of those ones I'm going to let into my 100 spaces that I just opened. And so I've had 2 dickish things. Most people have been either ignoring it or they've been fairly nice, and usually the nice people who reply to me, I've been letting them back into the system. So there's that. And but yeah, it's been kind of interesting, some of the people that you run into that just have no idea what's going on that platform, and probably should buy books like yours and training like yours so they can learn how.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that really still surprises me, of those 2,900 that you've got outstanding, I guarantee you there's not even 100 of that 2,900 who wrote a message to you, saying why they wanted to connect. They've just hit the connect button and given no context as to why you should connect. And those 100 or potentially even less are the ones who are actually going to get your attention to at least have a look at what they're about, because they at least told you something up front. So, if your audience can take one thing away from this chat today, is just make sure if you're going to send connection requests, just give a short message, 1 sentence, 2 sentences max, of why you want to connect. And you'll get a far better acceptance rate.
You get a far better, and plus you'll have a richer, why the hell did I call that person in the first place?
Exactly.
That's sometimes what I happen to do with my connections, or why I'm interested in people, is I'll reach out to somebody and be like, hey, we should be friends. And then when they finally approved my thing, I'm like, why did I want to be friends? And sadly, I really have failed. I think I should have done a better job, and I can see a way that I should have done a better job here. One of the problems I'm having now was I started at the fresh point where it was the latest people who'd sent me the friend request, and I'm moving to the back, and so now going through that 3,000, I'm in the 4-month area where people sent me a request 4 months ago. And I think they're struggling at that point to go, why did we follow this idiot, send him a connection request? And I think what my future strategy is going to be once I go through these 2,900 is I'm going to make sure every day, and I am doing that now with the fresh ones that come in. I get like 5 to 10 new ones a day. I make sure and send those guys a message. So they're really sharp on the moment of why they connected with me, what their reasoning was, and hopefully there's a better chance to do business with me there. The next strategy I've got to work on once I go through these 2,900 people that friended me, followed me, and trying to weed through them and find out who are the really sort of cool networking people I want to get to know and develop relationships with, or the people I can develop a relationship. I mean, for the most part, it's been the people who have written me back and been polite, like, thank you very much for responding. And yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you. And I'm like, okay, accept them. People have been shitty, of course, we just kick. And you're just like, actually, I was doing a test to see if I wanted to connect with you, and that's a definite no. I think the next thing to do is trying to figure out how to mine my 30,000 followers, and maybe you have some suggestions to how I can do that. How I can mine my 30,000 followers, maybe either with direct mail. I mean, I already publish content on LinkedIn. I probably need to do a better job with it with video and call to action. But I don't know. What do you think about delving into that realm of the database of people?
Look, it's definitely something you should do, but like you said, you've got to be really strategic around that. There's no point sending a SaaS offer to someone who's got zero interest in that. Yeah. You've got to filter down, and like one of the strategies that we use very, very effectively, like you, I'm connected with I think about 1,300 authors around the world.
Wow.
And we have a really sort of high level strategy that helps authors, one, get their book to become an Amazon bestseller, and then to leverage that authority through LinkedIn. And the last time we ran that campaign, of course, we could clearly make sure that we only sent that message to authors, and it literally just said, hey, Chris, we already knew you were an author. So we said, hey, Chris, want to be an Amazon best-selling author next month? Reply and I'll give you the details. That was the message. That's simple. And so in 1 week, we put 10 people through that program at $4,000 per head, generated $40,000 revenue off one message. And it's as long as you really target the message to be of value to that person, it can you can definitely get great results. But it's when people do that blanket stuff that you're talking about that it's just pointless.
Yeah, you're just like, why would you want to do this? In fact, I've joked with people. I'm like, maybe you should come up with a better way to market. Then you wouldn't have to beg on LinkedIn for people to get on a phone call with you. And I'm really big on saving people's time, not only mine. And it's just something I'm a dick about my time. It's just I don't want to waste some poor guy who's having schlep around LinkedIn. I don't want to waste his time either on top of my time where, he's got to be like, I just wasted an hour with you. And he has to, I don't know, cram some sort of sales out of me or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's been working for me really well. I've actually gotten a couple clients off of the recent production I'm doing in LinkedIn, where I'm focusing on helping contacting people who have contacted me and trying to decide if I want to give them my accept their friend request and their connection. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting experience overall, really, when it comes down to it. And I'm pretty impressed with it. Do you see LinkedIn continuing to be with Microsoft the real future of the most successful business social media platform ever?
Yeah, I don't think I don't think in this day and age that we're going to see a real competitor come out of the blocks now and take on Facebook as an example, or Instagram. And I don't really see that would happen, for the business space for LinkedIn either. They're too established. They've got too much resources behind them. This company the size of Microsoft can just outspend a competitor.
Buy any competitors that come on.
And then you've got the Googles of the world and whatever, billions of dollars a year in revenue. You just and I saw the other day that Google's shutting down the Google Plus network. So it's I think, to be honest, I believe social media platforms will actually lessen more so than see new major competitors come into the market.
Yeah, and I like I said, not that a lot of social media people don't get LinkedIn. I'm kind of glad, because it kind of there's a lot of space to really excel there, and I think I've seen people really excel on the platform. There's one African American young lady who is an executive, and she just kills it on LinkedIn. She has got tons of likes and tons of comments. I forget her name, but she's like always at the top of my network list. And I really feel bad for all the years that I really haven't invested as much as I needed to in LinkedIn. I'm just getting around to it now, but hey, I've been busy, so there's that.
Yeah, I think the person you're talking about is Bridget Hyacinth, but
I believe so. That name sounds really familiar. She posts really brilliant content.
And that's right. She's found she's just found a niche. She's found a tribe of people that love what she's about, and she can almost post anything, and thousands of people will interact with her. So you can imagine the ability that she has to generate revenue for whatever she's doing. And look, at the end of the day, when you just kind of put all the bullshit aside, the reality is, yes, we all want to be seen as an influencer. We all want to give value to our marketplace and to our people following us. But let's just cut that out. The reality is we all just want to generate revenue. So, but we want to do it authentically and professionally. And LinkedIn's the place where you can do that.
Yeah. In fact, I was just looking at your LinkedIn profile here. I guess you had your birthday on October 15th, 3 days ago.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, just a few days ago.
Happy birthday, belated birthday there. And what's interesting too is we have 11,297 mutual connections. So I guess our 30,000, about a third of them follow both of us. Is that correct?
Yeah. That's I actually saw that myself this morning. So
they're stalking us, Adam. They're stalking us.
Yeah, just means they love what we say.
Now, I don't know what's going to happen. We might open a wormhole now that we've been on a podcast together, and they're going to be like, "Oh my God, we follow both of them. What do we do? Overload of information." I don't know. So this sounds pretty good. So Adam, I could talk to you forever. We're going to have you on the show once again. Give me your plugs so we can have people find you on the interwebs. We'll wrap the show and see if we can't have you on again in the future, especially when you launch this new book.
Yeah, I'd love to. So yeah, December 15th is the target date, which was 14th for you. In Australia, we're slightly ahead, so it's actually Friday morning here. Yeah. But so yeah, look, as I said, the amzn.to, that's the easiest place to find me. But if you really want to interact with me, LinkedIn's the place. So just message me on there, and I'll definitely get back to you.
Sounds good. It's been wonderful to have you on, Adam, and a pleasure to meet you, and I'm going to look forward to knowing you more. I'll probably find you on Facebook, too, and send you a friend request over there. If you're even on there. Are you on Facebook?
Yeah. I don't spend a lot of time on there, but I'm definitely on there, and check it out once a day or so.
You got to balance the work life, and then Twitter's the bar, sort of. So thanks for Adam for being on. Thanks for my audience for tuning in. We certainly appreciate you guys. Be sure to tell your friends, neighbors, relatives. Please refer the show. If you can get a chance, go on iTunes or Google Play and do a review of the show. We'd certainly appreciate that, especially if you can say nice things about it. You can help employ the small beetles and hamsters that make the wheels go around. And we can invest in things like better mics and better cameras and maybe a facelift for me so I appear better on camera. That might be best for a lot of you who have to look at me during the podcast. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Also, we are now on Spotify. So go to Spotify. You can listen to us there. When you're sequencing between Metallica and Air Supply, you can listen to the Chris Voss Show between those tracks. What an amazing technology that we've been given. I mean, you can go from Lawrence Welk to Chris Voss Show, and then right over to probably the anger you're going to get for listening to the show to Megadeth. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Adam, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Thank you very much.